A very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of KSI Morning Brief. As usual, let's start with global markets. US stocks fell sharply on Wednesday as a surge in the coronavirus cases in the United States. The chief market strategist at National Securities in New York said that the markets have to start taking that seriously as it might impact the pace of the economic recovery and different states' rollout plans. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 2.72%, the S&P 500 lost 2.59%, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 2.19%. The biggest decline among the 11 major S&P subsectors was energy as crude prices dropped. Elsewhere in Europe, the German DAX index fell by 3.43%, the French CAC 40 dropped 2.92%, and the FTSE 100 index fell 3.11%. Data showed the IF4 Business Climax Index for Germany rose to a reading of 86.2 in June from 79.5 in May. The number came in slightly above consensus. Shares of pharmaceutical groups weighed on stock indexes. Shares of AstraZeneca plc US fell over 1%, and GlaxoSmithKline plc dropped nearly 2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng HSI dipped 0.5%, while Shanghai Composite was up by 0.3%. The Nikkei was on the red at 0.8%. Healthcare stocks and companies that rely on consumer spending were also among the big gainers, while safe play sectors like real estate and utility stocks fell. Now let's look at other international news. Canada may need to rework flight refund rules to address possible gaps. The country's top transportation regulator says Canada may need to address potential gaps in its passenger protection rules after hundreds of thousands of flight cancellations prompted by COVID-19 pandemic left travelers out of pocket. Most Canadian airlines have offered credit for cancelled flights that is valid for at least 2 years but have held on to the airfares amid the collapse in the travel industry. EU considers barring Americans from travel lists. EU ambassadors are making plans to reopen external borders on 1st of July, and travelers from the US could be among those who are not allowed in. The European Commission is advising ambassadors only to consider countries that are comparable or better than the EU average when it comes to new infections, the trend in new infections, as well as testing and tracing. New Caledonia to vote on independence from France on October 4th. New Caledonia is a remote island territory in the Southwest Pacific. It will hold a referendum on independence from France on October 4th, a month later than originally planned due to the coronavirus pandemic, according to the French government. Initially scheduled for September 6th, but due to the consequences of the health crisis, the vote has been delayed to October 4th, 2020. Now let's look at the latest updates on COVID-19. Total cases around the world are around 9.4 million, with daily cases of 96,000 have been reported. Total recoveries are around 5.1 million, with 482,000 deaths have been reported up to now. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, total cases have gone past 2,000, with 10 new cases were reported during the last 24 hours. Total recoveries are around 1,500, and total deaths are around 11. Looking at latest vaccine updates, a study conducted by the Pirbright Institute in alliance with the University of Oxford has demonstrated that 2 doses of the vaccine boost antibody response in pigs compared to a single dose. An enhanced immune response is said to offer improved protection against the disease. However, researchers are noted that further research is needed to validate these findings in humans. New York area to quarantine visitors from US coronavirus hotspots. People travel in the US from states with a significant number of infections to the states of New York, New Jersey will have to quarantine for 14 days. As cases in the US keep surging, governors of these states have issued travel advisory. So that's it from KSI Morning Brief. Today we'll be joining you again tomorrow morning. Thank you.